Are you feeling burnout at your job? Learn how Mallory Files, founder of Ozark Charcuterie Wine Bar, turned an at-home catering service into a full-blown brick-and-mortar business through social media, SEOs, and unique branding. This is the Startup Junkies podcast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Startup Junkies podcast. Thank you for tuning in, however and wherever you're tuning in from. My name is Daniel Koonce, and I'm joined here today with my co-hosts Caleb Talley and Jeff Amerine. Caleb, Jeff, how are we doing today?
Doing great. Beautiful day. It finally feels like spring in Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah. Jeff, how are we doing?
Glad to be here. Awesome.
Yeah.
Ready for March Madness.
Ready for March Madness. Me too.
Hopefully.
Well, we're joined here today by our new friend, Mallory Files, the founder and CEO of Ozark Charcuterie Wine Bar. Mallory, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well. Like I said, it's warm weather. We're all happy here.
Yes.
Usually we like to start these things off. Give us just the elevator pitch for Ozark Charcuterie Wine Bar.
Okay. So Ozark Charcuterie Wine Bar is a catering company at its core, but just adding on our wine bar aspect. So I call myself an accidental restaurant owner. We have not only charcuterie boards in store or in restaurant to order, we also have a few small bites. We are finding our footing on the restaurant aspect, but we are learning very quickly. We are a mean green machine when it comes to catering. So check us out, catering, restaurant. It's super girly. It is a girl bar. It is a girl bar.
It's for the girls.
It is for the girls. However, everybody is welcome. Anybody and anybody is welcome. But we are like made for the girls by a girl.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your background and what was really the inspiration for getting started.
Okay, yeah. So I, in 2021, quit a full-time job. I was feeling really burnt out. I had a mental health crisis, honestly. And I just looked around me and I saw like a bunch of gray. And I needed something creative. I needed a creative outlet to really just like focus in on. And this was like, honestly, at the suggestion of my therapist. She was like, find something and pour yourself into it. And I was like, okay. And so I thought about like, what brings me joy? What brings me happiness? And it was my grandmother, my Mimi. And she not only created wonderful looking things, but they also tasted super, super good. And so being 23 at the time, I was like, I have no cooking experience, so I can probably make something look pretty. And so I just started making little charcuterie boards for like my church group of girls. And they were like, this is so great. Like, you should start a business. And I was like, okay, great. So I started an Instagram page. And shortly after this, I found out that I was pregnant with my daughter, Lucy. And unfortunately, my pregnancy was really, really rough. And so I gave it my best shot as long as I could, made some really great progress, but had to stop because I was getting sick every single day, literally until I gave birth to her. I was just so sick. Shortly after, after having Lucy, I sat on my couch and I was like, what am I doing? Who needs me? And this is like a very common thing I think that like women feel after they give birth is like postpartum depression. And so I was dealing with that and I needed that something again. And Ozark Charcuterie was created and I started pouring myself back into that. And I said, okay, I'm going to give it a year. I'm going to say yes to everything I can. I'm going to be everybody's yes man. I'm going to have another full-time corporate job because we have bills to pay and I have a daughter and I have a responsibility to her and I have a responsibility to myself and to my mental health and to my well-being. And I gave it a year. And at the end of the year, I saw so many wonderful things happening for me. I saw, I was hitting like 5-figure months. And then I hit 20,000 a month. And I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this full time. So I quit my new full-time job and went all in with Ozark Charcuterie. And throughout this whole time, I was saving as much capital as possible because I knew that I wanted to do something like big, but I just didn't know what. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to save capital. And then in January of last year of 2024, I had no full-time job. I was able to do this all full-time, or do Ozark Charcuterie full-time. And I just like started posting differently. Like I changed my social media strategy. I changed it from, this is like what I do, buy from Ozark Charcuterie, like trying to sell them, and just gave that up and said, this is actually how I do it. And this is the person behind the brand. And when I stopped trying to sell the brand and started to try to sell myself, people bought in.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, you got so lucky, like going so viral. I'm like, babe, no, it was a strategy. It was a strategy. It was intentional. And I knew that it would work if I just was consistent, showed up as my authentic self, and just gave it my all. And so April hits and I go massively viral. I go from 3,000 followers to 55,000 followers just on Instagram alone. And then Facebook went crazy. I didn't buy into the TikTok thing quite yet, so I'm working on that one.
You might not have to.
Right. I know. And see, that's why I was like, no, don't do it. And now I'm like, oh, crap, what'd I do? So we're working on that one. But I just started seeing like the dividends from going viral, like monetarily. And so I continue to save all of that capital. And then June hits and I put it all on the table. I said, all right, let's do it. Let's go. And I signed my lease. I got a line of credit. I acted as my own general contractor at the bar. And the girl bar aspect that I was talking about earlier just like slowly evolved. And I didn't intend to start to have a girl bar. It just, whenever I got in there, I was like,
Are the customers the same for the bar? Talk about your customers for the catering business and the customers for the bar, and how you distinguish between the two.
So, okay, I have named my customers. So like a whole avatar for each of them. So for the catering company, her name is Kelly. She's 55 years old. She listens to crime podcasts. She, loves, what's his name? Ramsey, like all this stuff. She's married. She has kids. She's busy, has no time for herself. And she wants something quick and easy. She doesn't care how much it costs. She's like, I will pay you to make my life easier. Then we have, what did I name her? Jamie, I think is what I named her. We have Jamie, and she's 25. She is freshly out of college. She's a young professional. She wants a place that feels safe for her, but she's not looking to break the bank because she's 25 years old. And she loves to read like self-help books. She's really finding her footing in the world. So she just wants a place to land, and that is Ozark Charcuterie and Wine Bar. So there's the wine bar clientele and the catering clientele.
Gotcha.
And we also now have a wholesale clientele.
Oh, wow.
His name is Aaron. Yeah. But yeah, so it is different to market to different people. And I didn't realize at first that I was doing that. I was like, oh, these gals will come.
Different crew.
It's a different crew, but I do see a lot of like overlapping, but like my mentality is like, if you're marketing to everybody,
and to some extent, that could be based on the ages you discussed. That could be a mother-daughter crew.
Yes, we have so many mother-daughters come in. Just this last weekend, I had a mom come in, and she's a longtime follower, and she was like, "Oh my god, like I brought my daughter in, like meet her." It was really sweet. It was really sweet.
So mom's weekends on campus, right?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Oh, they're bumping. They're bumping. I mean, with catering orders, like we can't catch a break. But
so where'd you locate? Where'd you put the bar?
Right down the street, 3 East Mountain Street.
Nice.
Awesome.
Right here.
That's staggering distance.
Here.
Yeah, right.
I walked here. I was like, how long is it going to take me? It took me literally a minute and a half.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. And we're in the back alley. So it's a little bit different. I actually had somebody tell me to my face that it wasn't going to do well. And I said, okay, I'll prove you wrong.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, watch this.
Challenge accepted. So it's been going really well. January was incredibly hard for us, but beyond that, we've had great months.
That's
and
great.
Yeah, hit it out of the park. Like my revenue that I thought I was going to make for the entire first year, we hit it in like 4 months or something.
Wow.
Like crazy
awesome.
cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and to your point about kind of being back there, kind of tucked away.
Yeah.
I've seen the signs.
Oh, thank God.
So you've got that, that foot traffic,
Yeah.
with the quirky signs that are saying, around back, turn around or whatever.
Yes.
I've seen those.
Oh,
and
working.
so you've got that foot traffic. But tell me a little bit about kind of your marketing strategy, given that you've really defined that those customers so well. How are you marketing? Are you using the same platform to market to both? Do you kind of have a couple different, like maybe Facebook a little bit more for the moms or for the first avatar, and then Instagram for the other, or what?
So I really don't bank on social media to do my selling for me. I have put a lot of investment into SEO and like Google.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so I've tracked where I've gotten every single client ever. Like from the first client to now, I can track where I've got them from.
Yeah.
And so at first it was a lot of like repeat customers and I like referrals. And now it's transitioned over to, I think like 65% like organic search.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
So I've really tried to build up my Google reputation, I guess, and be above the first scroll.
Of course, yeah. That's awesome. And so I guess the social media is more general storytelling behind the scenes.
100%.
Yeah, cool.
The wine bar Instagram and like social media accounts, they are telling a different story. And I'll be honest, we're still finding our footing on like how we want to go about telling a story. Or do we even want to try to tell a story right now? My Ozark Charcuterie account that is about to actually be rebranded to Mallory Files account. Little teaser for you.
You heard it here first.
Heard it here first, folks. That is the storytelling. Like that's the way I want to go there. So still a little unsure about how I'm going to go about the wine bar account, but we're trucking, seeing what sticks and what resonates best with our audience. I think a lot of it is like the unseriousness of it all. Like we make these like silly little reels that have nothing to do, absolutely not a thing to do with what's happening in the bar. It's just like the kind of people that we want to attract. And so like the other day we posted one that had a sign up front, like a girl was walking out and she put a sign up. She's like, be back in 5 minutes. If I don't get a little treat and a latte, I'm going to be a hangry bitch. And we posted that and like that did really, really well. Like, and that is like the kind of people that we want to attract. So we're just like putting out what we want to bring in,
Yeah. What drives that algorithm towards y'all for other people potentially? Like, maybe, I don't know.
Like
just like stuff that they're like that folks that your target customers are gravitating towards as far as content that they find amusing and engaging and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So that kind of like silly content for sure. We do like a lot of events. Like people are looking for events to post. So we do a lot of like event graphics. And then I originally wanted our social media on the wine bar account to be like The Office meets like Gossip Girl a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as it's not The Office meets Mean Girls, right?
No. Not like, oh my God, she's so horrible. But be like, it's more like, oh my God, this customer just came in and they asked like if we had any good beers. And it's like, this is a wine bar, Karen. Like we have like Fossil Cove on draft, that's about as, good as we're going to get. But that hasn't really worked out yet. So
talk a little bit about the interplay between the wine and the food. And the reason why I asked, to give you a little bit of context, is that craft brewing and craft spirits and all that had this huge rise for the last 20 years. Beer consumption, every kind of alcohol consumption you can imagine is down now.
Yeah.
So how talk about how you manage through all that and how the wine and the food play together.
So I did notice that when I did my research before opening a wine bar, that consumption is at an all-time low.
Yeah.
And I was really worried about that. But I knew that people were coming for the charcuterie more so. Like I tried to make like the wine bar like a second thought.
Yep.
Like, oh, it's great if you want it.
It's going to be really
there.
interesting small plate food.
Yes, like food forward, wine second.
Yep.
And that has served us wonderfully.
Yep.
And having like the brand recognition before I opened, like as the charcuterie
helpful, right?
person, super helpful. Yes, so helpful. So yeah, I just try to not let that get me down.
Charcuterie is the headliner, basically.
Yeah.
So they come for the food,
Uh-huh.
and they maybe stay to have a nice glass of wine,
Right.
versus they come for the beer, the wine, or the spirits, and you've got pretzels or pizza or whatever else.
Right. Or
It's-
like
it's
the bowl of
different.
nuts. Right.
Yeah.
So different. Yeah. And like we just added like these massive like soft pretzels, some like Mexican corn dip. And we're like slowly adding to our menu where now we have like hot food as well. So we are like more a restaurant now.
But keeping it still simple,
Super
limited
simple.
menu and all that.
Absolutely. Because we have a small kitchen. And we don't want to, I want to grow intentionally with a lot of thought behind it. Like my goal at first was I want to open 3 shops in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Girl, no. I learned really fast. Like
That's
you
to
need
go
to
out of
learn.
business quick.
It
so
is. It so is. And I was like, no, I need to learn everything I can and keep it small before I try to do too much.
Fantastic.
So it's a girl bar, but it's a girl dinner too.
It is a girl dinner, but everybody loves a girl dinner. Boys love girl dinners. So please come.
Yeah.
Boy dinner is like a ribeye and popcorn.
Exactly.
And a beer.
Yeah, it's like,
I don't want to speak for the other 2 hosts here, but I assume you're the only one at this table who's ever put together a charcuterie board. A really good charcuterie board.
You never know with Caleb.
I can see him
He's a renaissance man.
Like meat and cheese. But
smoked meat.
I saw on your website you have these charcuterie maps.
Oh, Lord. Yes.
Could you just walk us through like what does designing a perfect charcuterie board look like?
Yeah, that was a blast from the past. Okay, so it's like, wait, how did you find that on my website? I don't know. You were.
It's like one of the top.
Shut up. That's so funny. Okay, so what goes into a perfect charcuterie board? So, I start with cheeses first. I would say like you need three different types of cheese at least to get a good array of things. And then stay simple with the meats. I would just do like 2 meats. Fruits, you're like,
you could add some cheese to the meat.
and then
When's the ribeye get to
right. Sliced, long and buttered. Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys are too much. I love it. You sound like my husband, honestly. He's
Just like
come on, man.
Ribeye with like some cheese around it.
Perfect.
Parsley.
And then I say do like strawberries, blueberries, and grapes. That's the only fruit you really need. Like don't try to go all crazy with it. Dry goods are nuts, some type of chocolate. It could be chocolate covered pretzels, or it could be like literal chocolate squares. And then like a dried fruit, just choose one. Like dried cranberries are great. And then of course crackers. But my biggest thing here with the crackers is the crackers are not the star of the show. So don't make them that. I mean, put them on the side. Like don't try to take up space on your board. And also they're very hard to style. Crackers are, the way they fall, it's just so ugly. So I just put them on the side in their own little container. But yeah, I mean, I think simple is best. I think with charcuterie boards, people really try to like go like this huge extravagant. I'm like, people actually don't love that like Creole mustard that much, honestly. Like do a nice jam or like a honey or something. Like you don't need to like go spend.
A little stone ground would be good.
You're such a boy. Such a boy.
No ghost pepper salsa in the mix.
Where's the chips and guaca?
Yeah.
You can see that we don't necessarily fall within your target customer.
Right.
But I tell you what, the way you describe that, made me visualize it and made me hungry
Absolutely.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
It sounded great.
Okay, good,
It really
good.
did.
Yeah. I love that.
And so I'm picturing, when you're talking about a map, I'm picturing almost like a paint by number.
It is.
But
You're so
for
right. That
charcuterie,
was the intention behind it. And honestly, I thought that was like my make it moment when I launched it. Sold like 10. Like it was so embarrassing, but also like a great thing to have in my pocket we'll revamp the charcuterie map here shortly. But yeah, basically it's this like big, like 1 foot by 2 foot. And it is a paint by numbers thing. It comes with like a shopping list, like a how to, like kind of like HelloFresh a little bit. Like it's actually like based off of a thing I saw in HelloFresh. I was like, wait, I have this like genius idea.
The ingredient list.
Yes. And then I have I have like a bank of videos that you can watch.
That's cool.
Like how to fold meat a certain way, how to slice up cheese, stuff like that.
And so is that something that somebody would order, like a digital download type of thing?
So it's a physical product right now, but I think it would be really great to do a digital download. But my thought behind not having it immediately be a digital download was like, okay, you print it, but then what? You're going to put food right down on the ink? No, like then it would be like, okay, parchment paper. But do people know to put parchment paper over ink? Like, I don't know. So there's still like a lot of thought that needs to happen on like customer experience as far like the map goes, and different like avenues for them to receive like the product. So
in regards to customer experience, when they're like engaging with you for a catering order, how does that look like? Is that kind of like custom made, or is there certain packages that you do? Because I'm thinking now, in my mind, I'm seeing that map, and then that being kind of like you drag and drop your grapes, and then it's like, this is what I want. Will you make this for me?
Okay. So their experience is more like, I am the expert, like chef's choice kind of a vibe. So they say, I want a 1 foot by 2 foot platter, or I want to feed this many people. What do I need to buy from you? Then I say, okay, great. Do you have any food allergies? Do you have anything that you absolutely hate or absolutely love? They'll give me that information. And based off that, we'll design it. Every single board is like a new design. Like we don't design really a board the same way every single time.
So as you're scaling that, do you have like a team? Are you kind of like the brain trust there and your team?
I have a team of 12.
Okay. Awesome.
And that has been a really big learning curve for me, going from 1 to 12, like all of the things that I think about when I make it. And it's just become natural. It's become second nature to me. I'm like, you didn't know to like, no.
Why'd you do it like that?
Yeah. But like, I'm trying to be kind also and like assertive too. And like trying to find my footing as like a boss. And so we now have like all of the, booklets, like
standard operating
Thank
practice.
you, SOPs. We have SOPs. I was like, what is that? We have SOPs for each one.
Nice.
And I give like each artist, food artist that I have, like freedom to create, but it just has to have these products in it. But the customer does not necessarily get to dictate unless there is like an allergy or there is, I don't know, something that they really love or hate, because then that actually like puts me at, I don't know, like makes me lose money. Cause like if they're like, I want this specific cheese, I'm like, girl, I'm not going to get that red dragon cheese. Are you kidding me? Then I'd have to price it differently, which takes way more time. And so chef's choice.
Okay.
Chef's choice.
The professional charcuterie stylist's choice.
Yes. You're funny.
So people come in, what kind of events do you do at the wine bar?
Yeah. So we have a lot of events. Right now, our biggest hit is bingo night. Okay. We have bingo night. We have this month, actually tomorrow, we're doing like bouquet making night. We have a paint and sip night. What else do we have?
A lot of for the girls events, it sounds like.
Startup Junkies Startup Stories event eventually.
Yeah.
Startup Junkies.
Period. Yes. We do charcuterie classes, of course. Like workshops, cake decorating classes. And you'd be really surprised, like the amount of like men that come to these classes, you know, like these classes really are for everybody, not maybe their girlfriends or wives or whatever are dragging them in, but they do have a good time, like nonetheless. Like who doesn't love like beer and cheese, right?
I can't think of anybody.
Yeah, right.
Nobody.
Right.
I'm curious to know, like, have you ever thought about leveraging your experience with social media and how you've kind of built that following and just the successes you have there? I feel like a lot of the folks that we encounter, everybody wants to do that well. Few do. So I feel like that's an opportunity in and of itself to leverage that experience and knowledge for others.
Yeah, to like help others. Oh yeah, for sure. So anytime anybody reaches out to me and is like, how do I start a website? How do I start an Instagram account? I'm like, girl, come on. Like, let me help you. As far as like structuring like something where I'm like doing a class or something, I haven't gotten that far. As like I've been grinding a little bit to like think about, to think about like actually organizing a class. But yeah, like giving back and like helping in any capacity is like a huge desire of mine in general. But yeah, that would be really fun, honestly.
Follow on. So you've got all these assets you've developed, and then you've got the catering business, you've got the retail and wholesale aspect, you've got the wine bar. What does winning look like in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go?
Oh man, oh goodness. Okay. I just asked my husband, I was really frustrated the other day and I was like, for what? For what? Why am I here on a Sunday? For what? And I want to position myself. Like I have like two sides of my brain. Like one is like building a personal brand, like Mallory Files, like being seen as like a thought leader, like in the food industry, the wine industry, like entrepreneur industry, and the wine bar, like my actual business and catering, like doing well. And so I think if I continue doing what I'm doing with the catering and the wine bar, I see us in 5 years opening another wine bar and catering company up like north of here somewhere. On the personal brand side, I don't know. I'm feeling a little like shaking in my boots a little bit because I don't know anybody that's done this. So I'm kind of just open to opportunities, but I'm rebranding the Ozark Charcuterie account as it's become more of.
But you're thinking, it sounds like you're heading the direction of Magnolia Network.
Yes.
To give you something aspirational to think about, right?
Yes,
because
exactly.
People you've already had enough sort of demand indicators that people enjoy seeing you work through the process and how you think about all this stuff, right?
Right, exactly. And it always makes me nervous saying the Magnolia Network because that is like on my vision board, but I didn't want to say that out loud.
And I didn't know that.
People might be like, this crazy, who does she think she is? And I don't know who I think I am, but here I am.
It's good to have that aspiration.
Yeah.
It's good to have something to say, that's a possibility.
Yes. And
you're crushing it so far, obviously. So
Thank you.
Your trajectory there.
I hope that my trajectory doesn't plummet and got to stay relevant, but I just show up as myself every day authentically and hope that in 5 years, that gets me somewhere a little closer to that Magnolia Network vibes, or like the Mars family.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
another good example.
Yeah. So now, is that a TV show? Is that my own podcast? Is that, I don't know, and I kind of have to figure that out as I go and kind of be open to these opportunities. So that's kind of what I'm doing now, is like just putting one foot in front of the other.
That's the more valuable part of it. Because I mean, for sure, the experience part of it, doing a great job and having people come into the wine bar and the charcuterie. But what scales is the digital side of it.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
What has the possibility of being a bigger thing.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Yeah, totally. And like, I know that every restaurant and every like catering, whatever, has like a life cycle. And I'm not like oblivious to that, thinking that Ozark Charcuterie or Ozark Charcuterie and Wine Bar are here to stay forever, because they're not.
Sure.
They're not. It's going to end, and like I'm going to be okay with that, and finding something else. And that's kind of what building a personal brand is. Because until I die, like I'm here, and the wine bar can just kind of die off, and that'd be all right.
Right.
Be all right.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Well, we just took a look into the future. Now let's take a look back into the past.
Oh.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self a piece of advice, it could be a year ago, it could be 20. What would you tell yourself?
With all the accumulated wisdom you have now.
So much wisdom. Let me think.
It's the double Jeopardy part of the show. You can either be Ken Jennings or someone no one will ever know.
I think to like bet on myself and do it scared, because I have always been just a really nervous, scared person, not taking risks, but do it scared and fight scared and show up for yourself. Bet on yourself, and the rest will work itself out.
Yeah. Pretty great advice right there.
Yeah, it's great.
Fantastic.
Advice. And the scared part keeps you hungry and humble and not complacent.
Yes, exactly.
That's great. Great advice.
Thank you.
Well, if our audience wants to know more about you or check you out, Ozark Charcuterie and Wine Bar, where should they go?
They can go to ozarkcharcuterie.com or at Ozark Charcuterie and Wine Bar.
Awesome. We'll make sure to link those in the little notes. But thank you for coming on.
Of course. Thank you all so much.
Yeah,
It was a great
absolutely.
conversation.
Great conversation.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.